Good morning. No, blah, blah, blah. Do we have to start again? No, this is live. Okay, let's try this. Good morning and welcome to the Metadime channel. Today is Friday and today we are going to celebrate success. We're going to talk about things that we won at this week and we're going to do that in 3, 2, 1, now. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. I'm so glad you're with us. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody who's hopping on right now. I know that it is Friday. It's an exciting day for me because we had a really big week. We had a week where something miraculous happened. And, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And to this week, we got to be very, very fortunate to get a high quality launch manager to help us out with our upcoming launches because we are, doing this new thing. And I'm very excited about that. We got new books on the rise. They're coming out as we speak. My eyeballs are a little puffy. And most importantly, I have a cup of coffee and I've had some sleep. I actually had, in fact, I slept so much. I got up at like 8:30 this morning. So I've only been up a little bit. And for those on the East Coast, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome. It's time to celebrate success. Please come on board and have some fun with us right now. And I hope that your weekend has got some good plans on it. I know that it is the time that we're going to start planting, because we got all our little plants over there and things that you got to see. They're all developing in their little cups and everything else. And we're getting ready to put them in the yard and they're growing. You're right. Sleep is good. And I want to say, happy Friday. And I like this one better. Happy Friday. Oh my God. It's happy Friday. So, hop on board and jump on in and say hello. I love this. Hey, look at who's with us today. We got Mr. Coffee Man himself. How you doing, Donnie? Good morning, good Friday, good coffee to everyone. And of course, we have Ryan. Ryan is obviously on his mobile phone right here. And nice to see you, Ryan. I have been enjoying that you've been popping him in every once in a while. And I hope that Timmy question answered your ability to get your stuff done. So good morning, MJ. Nice to see you, Marie Jo. I'm so glad that you're here. Happy Friday, everyone. And so this week has been, okay, let's look at this. Outside the major successes through Metadime, learning new platforms, had a family happy hour last night on Zoom. What fun. There's a couple of people that have been having those happy hours with their family and everybody gets on Zoom and says hello. And, some even have a sing along. Like I have a friend whose family knows all these lineage line songs and they sing them together. And that's very cool as well. But I want to say, I've had an extraordinary, I've been watching everything in the world and there's so much chaos and all of it surrounds emotions around being able to go outside. And I get it because May is like this beautiful day and it's gorgeous right here. And all I keep thinking is, when can I go for a bike ride? I have been working so hard all week and etc. And I know that some people are a little bit afraid of what it is that the future holds. And I found one thing yesterday that was something my grandmother taught me. And, no matter what, even if everything didn't have a pandemic and the pandemic never happened, it never happened. Like everything was normal, whatever that is, we always have the ability to live in chaos. Because every single day there's chaos. You have your routines every single day. You do your routines and everything looks systematic. And, you think, I got this working. And somehow a normal day or a good day means that something didn't go wrong. Like what's wrong in everything went right. It went perfect according to your plan, according to your idea. But my grandmother noticed that when we live in the moment, when we're absolutely in the moment, then everything is perfect, whatever happens as part of the day. And so what she told me as a little girl was sometimes you talk to the day, but then sometimes the day talks to you. And it doesn't use words. It doesn't use words. It uses actions, and it uses kind of ambiance, and it uses all kinds of things that give you feelings that you need to listen to, that you can just hear and listen to. And so what happened was I learned to use my inner pieces and my outer pieces. Sometimes the day talks to you, and sometimes you talk to it. And sometimes when we talk to it, we start yelling at it. That wasn't supposed to happen. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I never get, why does this happen to me? Right now, it's like all we talk about is we talk in disappointments of the day. And how can I learn not to talk in disappointments? Not judging the day, but allowing the day, playing with that day and moving that day forward. And when I have that kind of week, I'm having a great week and I'm having a great day every day. And I have a lot of gratitude for that. I want to go pop over here and see what you're saying. Here we go. Robin, that's awesome. I know a lot of people do that. Maybe I should start. And I like that. Love that. Of course, in our family, only my mother knows the words to the song. Yes, and that's a private joke because Robin doesn't know the words to the song. She just makes them up as she goes. It was great to connect, see their faces across the country, and share funny stories. We're going to do it regularly. Now, isn't it an amazing thing? Isn't it an amazing thing that this pandemic has created this new tradition? Let's see. Love that. Sometimes you talk to the day, sometimes the day talks to you. Fear is an emotion. Yes, it is. Fear is an emotion. And let's see, expectations set up disappointments. Yes, that's true. If you have a plan and it doesn't go perfectly that day, if you have a plan and it doesn't unfold that day, if we could pay attention to what the day is saying to us and listen from our soul, we would find out that it's probably something that is moving you out of danger without you knowing it. So I want to give you an example of that because I got two of my friends online right now who lived in Puerto Rico. And they decided they wanted to move to the other side of the island because San Juan was a little loud and people were, moving there, etc. And so we moved them to San Juan on the other side of the island. And then they came back for a vacation to Colorado. Well, while they were back in Colorado, all these earthquakes broke out at the exact place they had moved to them. I mean, just like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them. In fact, the earthquakes didn't stop for like weeks went by, and there was still earthquakes every single day where they were. And so at the time, you're like, oh my goodness, I moved to the other side of the island, but then I got a hint to take a vacation, so I took it. And you can see that the day, that the timing, that the moment truly wanted to move them out of harm's way. And so if they had an expectation, they could say, yes, everything went wrong, we're disappointed. But instead they were like, wow, the universe just moved us from here to keep us safe. And buildings were falling on each other when they came up in Puerto Rico. So you don't know what you don't know. You have to kind of be open to it. Hey, look who's here. Good morning, Lachelle. Long time no see. That's right. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I know with 12 children or some huge number, you have a tribe. It's lucky to see you right now. I'm really glad you're here. So what happens when we listen to the day and the day listens to us? We collaborate and we get better at doing things and digging deeper. It's unmet expectations. That's right. It's unmet expectations, not just expectations, but unmet expectations. So when you have trust in the universe, what does it mean? So I want to tell you, I want to go back to the Puerto Rico story right now, because I think that's super important. What if my friends were like, no, we don't have time for vacation. No, we don't. When you know you're supposed to go, what if they argued? No, I don't want to. I want to be here. I want this here. I want that. I. What if their ego led the way? What if they didn't? Well, they could have been really in harm's way. And what if they didn't believe that the universe had their back? So here's the second thing that's so important. Do you believe the universe has your back? Yes or no? Because if you don't, guess what? Whatever you believe, that's what happens. It's the real point that you got to get to. If you believe that the universe has your back, then the part of the conversation that happens during the day from the universe, it doesn't come to your mind. It comes to your soul. And the entryway is usually through your heart. That soul piece right there is the divine saying, go left, go right, go forward. And then you have to drop your ego and say, the divine said, move left, move right, move forward. And then you nod and say, I'm going to do what the universe wants me to do in this moment. I'm going to take a step forward. I'm going to let the master within me say, okay, move forward, take that step. Don't do that, go left. When we surrender to those conversations and we're not buried in our mind going, but, I need. Because when you say but, you're going to insert your expectation. But I was supposed to, but I was going to, but anytime you do that but sound, you are inserting what you want the universe to do instead of what it's telling you to do. And the question is, do you have faith or you don't? Because faith means that you walk in the direction of that inner voice, that inner calling, that inner knowing that said, yep, you should go out of here and get out of harm's way. And the funny thing is, neither of my friends knew why they were leaving. They didn't know the why they were coming back for vacation. They just knew that they were supposed to come back. That's it. Not supposed to why. It wasn't a matter of, well, I'm not going to do it if you don't tell me why. It was faith and trust. And it wasn't even a week or so before back. And then boom, the actual earthquake started happening. It happened so fast. And all I know is that they were out of harm's way. And I thought, yes, this is the divine protecting your butt. And that is the perfect thing. So let's go over here. I want to stop here and read this, because imagine that you expected something dreadful like the IRS fining you $10,000, but your CPA finds that you actually are getting a refund. Woohoo! Not disappointment there. Those are digging deeper. Those are unmet expectations. So let's see over here. Let's go. I like this right here. I try to reduce my expectations. That doesn't mean I reduce my goals and my milestones. They're different. Don't confuse them. Yes, this was so smart right here. I had to put it up again. I try to reduce my expectations. That doesn't mean I reduce my goals and milestones. This is the most important thing, because when we start talking about business and following the divine in that moment, in that business, when we start following those key indicators that are there, you can still hit the milestones, but you have to give up your expectations. Sometimes you have to pivot. The business morphs. You get a different division. You get a new product. You have to stay with the business, because a business will unfold and be, but it won't be exactly to your expectations of how it's going to go. It's like, hi, I'm here. I want to get here. In a business, it takes a circuitous route all the way there. You eventually get there if you stick with it. If you don't, then you probably will fall out. Thank you for that, Karen. That was really profound. We want to say hi to Lachelle. Everyone's glad you're here, Lachelle, because you haven't been here for a while. Glad to see you. I want so often leads to disaster than fears, because I didn't listen to those promptings. Now, that is so important. Sometimes your brain is so driven by desires. It's driven by what ego wants and not what the divine wants, or what the moment wants, or what the master wants, whatever you want to call it. That is the interesting thing. Anytime I say I want, so often leads to disaster, then fears, because I didn't listen to those promptings. And I got to tell you, Scott, I've made that mistake so many times. I'm like, gosh, I knew. I have to tell you this. When I was about 18 years old, I had a TR7 sports car, which probably I shouldn't have had back then. But I remember driving the TR7 everywhere. I loved it. And it was kind of an ego car for an 18-year-old girl. And it was a sports car. I grew up in California. So one day I have this appointment to go get my hair done. And I'm taking my friend, and I go to my friend's house to pick her up. And I had a knowing flash over me, a knowing that if I went to this appointment, I was going to have a car accident. And I was not listening. I was like, whew, that's scary. It was kind of like a premonition. The premonition didn't have words. It said, don't go, don't go, don't go. Well, I did what I wanted. I got in there and I had a fender bender. It was my fault, fender bender. Because I was talking to my girlfriend so much, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And so I had a fender bender there. And what ended up happening was I learned something. That was the first time I learned that the day was trying to talk to me. The day said, you know what? Don't go. Don't go. And my mind was like, yes, but I want to get my hair cut. I want to get my hair cut. I want to, look good, or whatever vain thing was there. I told you, this is my vanity. And, there it is. I was 18. It was still my vanity. But I went ahead and I ignored. I did what I wanted instead of what I was being told. And the outcome was exactly what they said. So from that point on, I was like, yep, this is my fault. I didn't listen. And I knew I didn't listen. And thank you for that, Scott, because tons of people get that. Tons of people get that inner knowing that says, don't, or don't do this, or just don't. And we don't listen to them. I did what I wanted anyway. That was a really good thing there that you did, Scott. That was so, gosh, listening in is important. Listen, you can hear that voice if you make yourself too busy. You can't hear that voice if you make yourself too busy or thinking you control your life. Yes, it is the dance between the two. Now, I'm not saying that there's always something outside that controls the day, because that's not true either. On the flip side, whatever you focus on, that's what grows. Whatever you focus on grows. And it is a co-creative process. It's a co-creative process between you and the divine. When we're in the I want mode, fear mode, the inner voice is nearly impossible to hear. Now, this is a big deal right here, because fears are different. Fears are like, there are some people who can be obsessive about their fears, like everything is always going to be bad, and what makes it more scary, and what makes it more, terrifying. And we love to talk ourselves into fear, but fear makes you drunk on disillusionment. When you're fearful, you cannot think, you don't make good decisions, anything. It's like you're scared. You're just trying to feel safe again. But remember, we talked to Isabel Tierney, and when you get into that red zone, stop. Just stop yourself. You can find that fear is you talking to you from your negative, counter-intentional mind. That negative intention, those counter intentions that are in your mind that you believe. Because when you're in the I want mode or fear mode, the inner voice is nearly impossible to hear. And this is the point. If you want to hear the day, I will tell you the truth. If you listen to the day, you'll have more success. Full stop. If you co-create with the day, you'll have more success. Even when it's scary, even if you're a control freak about your day and you're like, no, it has to be done right now. All of those things right there in that perpetual moment where you're fear-mongering yourself to death, it takes a long time to recover from fear. It takes a long time because you lose yourself so into a story that might not be true at all. Not at all. Thank you, Scott. I'm digging your insights today. You have a lot of good stuff coming up here today. Thank you. There's so many of you. I like this. When you hear the voice, don't ask why, just do it. Hashtag just do it. Thank you. Lachelle, thank you for that. That means a lot to me. So on last night's Unlocked with Tracy, she said, change creates opportunities if you listen. That's correct. And if you haven't seen the show, it's in the Metadime channel thing. But the thing that is interesting right now is that change creates opportunities. And there's so many of them right now. And if we're only listening to our fears, we are not listening to our greatness. We're not listening to that inner genius that wants to move us forward. We're not listening to that. We could bypass the opportunities that are for us if we're not paying attention to it. It could be bypassed in just a second. Thank you for that distinction. That could be a point of confusion. I know in the past I've entangled my goals, milestones with expectations, and it led to disappointments. Yes, you know, you have to be very clear. There is a conversation going on. Somehow, you know, when a baby is born, we know that the baby came from the divine and the baby got here and it's the divine being that came to us. We know it's special. We know it's right. And then when we die, we know that this is a spiritual being and it's leaving its body and it's going to go meet heaven and it's going to go be there. But somewhere between being born and dying, we have a tendency to forget that we are the same spiritual being that was that tiny baby that came in and that spiritual being that is the person that's dying and exiting the world. We're that same spiritual being from start. We never stop being that. We are a personality in this. Like right now, God granted me the gift of being Vickie Helm right now, and He's given me some choices that I can do or be or have or represent. But this is just me with this physical meat suit, and I am always the spiritual being. And then I get to incarnate and play the role of, I don't know, man, woman, and maybe next time I'm not a writer. Maybe next time I'm a construction person. Who knows? But in this moment, right now, the divine piece of you is not to forget that you are a divine entity. If you can't, every baby I think comes from heaven. I don't know. It's like when there's a soul, whatever the other side of the veil is, whatever that heavenly place is, that's where I think all babies come from. I know there's some of you going, well, you ain't met my son yet. But for those of you, God bless you. But some of them, it's like every baby is a little cuddly piece of heaven. And so to me, when that baby grows up, it doesn't stop being a cuddly piece of heaven. That's what everybody is. And I think when you realize that you are soul and not the personality like I'm Robin or I'm just Lachelle or I'm Karen, when you realize that's the personality that you're playing, that you're really the soul of you, then you get to learn all about how awesome the soul is. And the soul is that part of you that's like, stop, don't do it, just stop. And if you can't listen to that part, you can run into some trouble there. Okay, we read that. Great point. I've done that too. Thank you. Just do it. That's right. And we're all the way down to Donnie. Nice to see you here. Be still and listen. Yes, that is the daily practice, isn't it? Let me tell you something, the importance of just be still and listen. I mean, I know that there's a whole lot that he's saying right there, but just be still and listen, because silencing your mind is the way into your soul. It's like you can hear another conversation going, buried underneath the conversation in your mind. Sometimes it's as in the universe, maybe yelling at the top of your lungs. When you hear it, as strange as it sounds, you eventually discover the answers. There's a bigger story for all of us. Yes, yes, there is. You think you are in control, but there is some other part of you. And I want to be distinct here. He says, you think you are in control. You think by thinking that you are in control, when in fact, there's other aspects of you. There is a bigger story for all of us. There's a bigger story. This is so important what he's saying right here. It's like you got to be still and listen, because the part of you that is you doesn't think. It listens. It's silent. It has no questions. And if you look at it from that point, I say this often, the heart has no questions and your mind has no answers. The heart has no questions, none. The mind has no answers. The second you start questioning whether you should go right, or putting your want, inserting your want or your will or your way, you are now thinking. And your heart has no questions. It knows. It wants this. It wants to go forward. It'll say yes inside. Yes. You'll feel that yes. And the second your mind comes on, if it's not helping you towards that yes, it's taking you out of the yes. It's sabotaging you. That first step, that first movement is from the yes. That's listening to the silence. The only way to get instructions, though, from there is to know and look at how much I'm using my mind, I'm using my mind, I'm using my mind, I'm using my mind. And can you stop using your mind and come back in and just feel your heart? Can you just be in there and listen to that silent sound? Donnie, that was really great. Thank you for that. I want to say, I'm just going to pop this up. If you surrender and listen to the whisper of the navigator within, you will clearly see the path in front of you. Quotable for today, right there. If you surrender and listen to the whisper of the navigator within, you will see. And I love that you use the word the navigator, because the navigator isn't the mind. The navigator within, you will clearly see the path in front of you. Just beautiful. Thank you for that, Donnie. Yes, Robin, be still should be the first step in most things. Just be still. Donald, this is the most profound quote of the day. So here, a lot of us are being still, but I hope during this time we choose to listen, because this gift of some of the distractions to be on pause will not be here again. Yes, this is listening to the moment, isn't it, Lachelle? This is the whole point. A lot of us are being still, but I hope during this time we choose to listen, because this gift of some of the distractions being removed to be on pause, that may not ever happen again. This is a great opportunity. It's such a blessing. This is listening to the moment right here. This is the perfect thing. It's such an interesting thing that you say, Lachelle. I love your insight on this. Absolutely. Karen, that's a great quote. So often I've been directed by others' opinions, especially when they're important to me and I value their opinion. Yes, me too. Your heart has no questions and your mind has no answers. That's not from Buddha. The quote isn't from Buddha. Your heart has no questions and your mind has no answers. That's from Vickie Helm. But thank you. That's really cool. Let's see. Those are beautiful words. Salve for the soul. Yes. Sounds like the exercise of the day is more quiet time for all. Yes. Sometimes quiet gives you the creativity, the answer, the next move. It's in the quiet space. And if we can't get to this quiet space, we're sabotaging ourselves. And how do we do that? We say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And your brain complies. It goes, okay, we don't know what to do. We'll stop right now. And suddenly you're just kind of panicked. I don't know what to do. And so whatever you tell your brain to do, it's going to do. And we have to be careful of that. That's why it's so good to shut off the brain. If we just, what is it that they say? One of the guys said it earlier. If it's like, be still and know. When you quiet the mind, that's when the knowing comes up. Knowing comes up from there. If the brain says, I don't know what to do, great, go to the source of the thing that does know what to do. And that requires some quiet time. That requires just some inner aloneness, letting it speak to you. And sometimes that may not happen if you're sitting there and like, okay, I'm quiet, tell me. I'm listening. Where are you? I don't feel you. Oh God, this thing doesn't work. I'm going to start daydreaming about something. That's not quiet. Quiet is just space. It's emptiness. Now, this is a Buddhist quote. It's emptiness is form and form is emptiness. Emptiness is form and form is emptiness. And that means that it will form out of that emptiness, that next move. We have to practice that. This is kind of a deep conversation for a Friday, I would say. I offer to think we can value people and we choose to listen to their opinions and decide if that opinion serves or not. Yes, because sometimes the answer comes through someone else. Sometimes it does. The point of listening is not to respond. It's just to hear. And there could be something somebody says that could be one possibility. It could be a possibility for that change to happen. And sometimes when you listen to somebody else's idea, that's what a team of people do, don't they? It's like, I have this idea. What do you guys think? We could do this. We could do this. Somebody says, or we could do this. We could do this. You're putting all the options on the table, aren't you? And you're allowing it to come through people. That was a good one. I'm really enjoying everybody's insights today. I'm like, this is the power to choose. And for Friday to just develop successes, we have developed, in my opinion, a conversation about the most powerful forms of success. Now, before we go, could we just have a couple of people tell me what their week of success was? I know that for me, one of my successes was letting go and having trust and building trust. And letting go and building trust was meant removing myself from a situation that was to have somebody else lead on. And because I'm a control freak, like everyone knows, that doing that was, just something beautiful. Lachelle, everybody's digging what you said. Lachelle, the most powerful words here is choose. That's right. Beautiful, Lachelle. We do have the option to choose, and that is where things can, where we can use discernment if we are in a place of intention. Yes, intention is powerful, the most powerful. Lachelle, again, yes, Lachelle, this moment in time is truly a gift, and it becomes a gift when this realization recurs. It is in those moments we can take action and great things can happen. Yeah, so I want to say all I need is one success story from somebody else other than me. Just pop it in there so I can at least share it with someone else. I really want to take a sip of coffee right now, so I'm going to do that. I want to say it's interesting how success happens. Success is such an interesting animal, but for me, the reason I chose business over having a job was that I wanted to have that spiritual connection all the time. And I knew if I ran my company, I would not have to do that corporate backstabbing, negative intention thing. I could always be in this divine space. She said I had to get control and ask Robin to help me with my podcast today. And it worked because you guys did a show today. And I think that's really cool. Choice only resides in the moment of time. I agree with that. Success happens in each moment when brave choices are made. Yes, that is so important that you know. If you can pay attention to the moment, then you will have success moment to moment to moment. That's so profound. Yes, it is. I love that phrase, brave choices. Yes. I'm going to end the show with that today because I think that is something that's so important. Choices only reside in the moment of time. Success happens each moment when brave choices are made, moment to moment to moment. Thank you, everybody, for being with me Friday. I'm going to see you on Monday, and we're going to have a rocking good time. Mwah! Peace out. Have a great weekend, everyone.